Hi Bookish Besties, my name is Brittany. This is Rescues and Reads. Thank you so much for joining me here today. If you are new, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're already subscribed, as always, I appreciate your continued support. Thank you for returning to another video. Today we are here to talk about how I did with the 2024 reading challenges and the challenges that I plan to pursue in 2025. Hello everybody and welcome to another Bookmas video. As I mentioned, today it is all about recapping the reading challenges that I did in 2024 and talking a little bit about what I plan to do for 2025. So in 2024, I participated in 3 main reading challenges. I participated in Buzzword, which is hosted by Kayla over at Books and Lala. I participated in the 52 Book Clubs reading challenge, as well as Around the Year in 52 Books reading challenge, both of which contain 52 prompts. And then of course, I was doing the Reading Like My Subscribers challenge, where I had all of you recommend up to 5 books that you wanted me to try and read, and I put them in a challenge cup that I would pull from every single month and try to get to these reads that you recommended for me. So I'm not going to go over every single book that I read for every single challenge because I feel like that would take quite a while. I will go ahead and quickly run through what I read for Buzzword, as well as all of the books that I read for the Reading Like My Subscribers challenge, and then we'll talk a little bit about my plans for 2025, which are not entirely all that different from 2024. So for January, the Buzzword was to read a book with there, or there in the title, and literally the only one that I had on my TBR was a book called And There He Kept Her by Joshua Moling. I did recently read that and really enjoyed it. In February, the prompt for Buzzword was to read a book with a positive word in the title, and for that I read Happy Place by Emily Henry. For March, the Buzzword was to read a book with a character name in the title, and for that I read Morgan Is My Name. For April, the prompt was to read a nature word in the title, and for that I read The Frozen River by Ariel Lahan. For May, the prompt was to read a book with every in the title, and for that I read Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. For June, the prompt was to read a book with repeating words in the title, and for that I read Kill for Me, Kill for You by Steve Kavanaugh. July's prompt was to read a book with a measurement in the title, and for that I read Life's Too Short by Abby Jimenez. For August, the prompt was to read a book with like in the title, and for that I read Girls Like Us by Christina Alger. The prompt for September was to read a book with one of the 5 senses in the title, and for that I read Close Enough to Touch by Colleen Oakley. The prompt for October was relationships, so to read a book with some kind of relationship in the title, and for that I read The Ex by Alifair Burke. For November, the prompt was to read a book with only in the title, and for that I read Only If You're Lucky by Stacey Willingham. And for December, the prompt was just to read a book with holiday words in the title, and for that I chose A Winter in New York by Josie Silver. Alright, and moving on really quickly into the Read Like My Subscribers challenge, the goal was to attempt or read 24 of y'all's recommendations, and I definitely met that with a total of 27 books read or attempted. And what I mean by that is I picked them up with the intention of reading them, and then I might have DNF'd them. I'm going to go ahead and quickly run through them. They are not in the order that I read them. So I have Morgan Is My Name by Claire Leach. That was recommended to me by L as in Wonderland. Last One of the Party by Bethany Clift, which was recommended to me by Nana. Cricket House by Agatha Christie, which was of course recommended to me by Jarrett. Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros, which was recommended to me by Amanda over at Amanda Booktopia. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies was recommended to me by MLL at YouTube, and unfortunately I DNF'd that one, but I did get, I would say, about 30 to 40 pages into it. Autobiography of a Face was recommended to me by Aunt Rachel, and unfortunately these types of stories are just not my thing. This was a memoir written way back in the 90s, and I'm just not a memoir person, especially when it comes to somebody I have no idea who they are and I have no investment in them, so unfortunately this was not the best reading experience. Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano, also recommended to me by MLL at YouTube, and unfortunately this was another one that I didn't love, but I did finish it. Dachshund Through the Snow by David Rosenfeld was recommended to me by Janine Thompson 243, and I read it. It was cute. It was number 20 in like this cozy mystery series, and it's not something that I normally would have read, but it was fine. Neon Gods by Katie Robert was recommended to me by Nakia or Kia the Cat. The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn was recommended to me by Deacon Girls 4227, and I enjoyed that one. The Haunting of Blackwood House by Darcy Coates was recommended to me by Rogue Rosie, and I also enjoyed that one. Bunny by Mona Awad was recommended to me by Jillian, and unfortunately I DNF'd that one, but I think it was kind of expected. I never expected to enjoy that story, and it was an easy DNF by a certain point. I think I got 30% of the way through, so I did give it a solid try. It was just way too weird and unusual for me. Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan was recommended to me by My Sunny Reading Corner 6777, and I did read it. It was a short novella. This is just one that I think went over my head. I really don't understand what the hype is about this one or what I was missing, but it didn't do a whole lot for me. The Huntress by Kate Quinn was recommended to me by Craig Hines 8888, and it was a solid historical fiction, but unfortunately not my favorite Kate Quinn. Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent was recommended to me also by L as in Wonderland, and I did enjoy that. I actually just recently received the Fairy Loot special editions of that, that, so I do plan on continuing in that series. Dark Places by Gillian Flynn was recommended to me by Janine Thompson 6243, and unfortunately that one was a DNF. Assistant to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer was actually recommended to me by quite a few of y'all, but the slip of paper that I chose when I read this, it was the recommendation of Jess over at Average Jess, and of course y'all know how I feel about that one. Another one that I absolutely loved unexpectedly was Ready Player One, and that was recommended to me by Nancy Picard 3456, so thank you so much to Nancy. She also recommended this next one, which was The Good Part by Sophie Cousins, and I did enjoy that. It was good for what it was. The Storied Life of AJ Fickery by Gabrielle Seven was recommended to me by Whispers 3661, and unfortunately this is one that I just don't get the hype behind. It didn't do a whole lot for me. A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas was another one that was recommended to me by Jess over at Average Jess, and this was definitely not my favorite Sarah J. Maas. I know it's really popular, but this is just another one that didn't work for me like it worked for everyone else. The Wishing Game by Meg Schaefer was recommended to me by MLL at YouTube, and I really enjoyed that one. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan was another one that was recommended to me by Nakia at Kia the Cat, and unfortunately this is another one that didn't work for me like I thought that it would, but I'm glad that I did give it a shot because I had heard so many amazing things about it. Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid was recommended to me by Whispers 3661, and I really enjoyed that one. I also did read Red Rising and Golden Sun. Those were both recommendations by L as in Wonderland. She basically just recommended the whole Red Rising series, and I read the first two books in the first trilogy, and I do plan on reading the final book in that original trilogy probably at some point in 2025. I also have Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell, which was recommended to me by Craig Hines 888, and unfortunately that is not my favorite Lisa Jewell. I think it's one of my least favorite Lisa Jewells. It just wasn't as strong as some of her other books. And then the last one that I have here is one that I read unexpectedly this year. It was The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. This was another recommendation by Jess over at Average Jess. I read this so that I could satisfy the very final challenge for the 52 book club that I needed to satisfy to read a book that featured a ghostwriter. I'm actually currently reading that right now. I should finish it today, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm having a great time with it, so I'm really happy about that because I didn't necessarily love The 7-Year Slip. I didn't hate it, but it definitely didn't touch me like it touched a lot of people. I think I'm enjoying The Dead Romantics just a bit more than The 7-Year Slip. And like I said, The Dead Romantics is the very final book that I needed to complete the 52 book club challenge, and I did successfully already complete around the year in 52 books. So I was very successful for all the reading challenges that I pursued in 2024. Moving on into 2025, I do still plan on participating in those same three challenges: Buzzword Challenge, the 52 book club challenge, and around the year in 52 books. All of the prompts for both of those challenges have been released, and a lot of them are quite challenging. I definitely feel like, especially with the 52 book club, that those prompts are way more challenging than they were last year. I will try to remember to leave the Goodreads groups for each of these reading challenges linked down below in case you are interested, but what I thought that I would do is that I would go ahead and go through some of these prompts and let you know which ones are of particular concern for me. I do plan on doing the same thing in 2025 that I did in 2024, is take all of these prompts and put them in my challenge cup, and so I will pull a couple of them every single month prior to playing my TBR game. I definitely think that there are a lot of these that I will procrastinate on, and so doing that, putting them in the challenge cup, might help me get to them if I'm not getting to them naturally through what I'm already reading. Now, I do not believe that the buzzword prompts have been released yet, so I don't have those to go over with you, but with regard to the 52 book club, some of the ones that I think are gonna be challenging are a pun in the title. Now, I know like a lot of cozy mysteries have a pun in the title, but cozy mysteries are not necessarily my thing, so I'm going to try to find something that is not a cozy mystery. One of the prompts is to read a book told in verse, and I really do not appreciate that kind of storytelling, and I am not a poetry person, so I will definitely have to read something that is far outside of my interest and comfort zone. I try to satisfy these challenges with books that are on my TBR, whether my virtual TBR or my physical TBR, basically books that I'm already interested in reading. I really have no problem going outside of my comfort zone to read some of these books, but I would prefer the books that I read to be at least on my radar, you know what I mean? But like a book in verse, I would literally just have to go pluck something out of thin air and read it because there is literally nothing on my radar or on my TBR that is written in verse. A Character Who Can Fly is also an interesting one. A fairy tale retelling would definitely have posed a problem for me if I didn't need to finish The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I have had Winter on my TBR for over a year at this point, still needing to be read, so that will satisfy that challenge perfectly. This one is definitely going to be a challenge, and that is the title is a spoiler. So one of the examples I saw was Everyone Dies at the End by Adam Silvera, which I have already read. So I'm gonna have to try to think of something really interesting for this one. Breaks the Fourth Wall. More and more books are doing that these days, but it could still be challenging to find that. This one is a crossover, so books that are set in a shared universe. This one is really interesting. This prompt is to read a book with the final sentence that is less than 6 words long. That I think I'm just gonna have to come about randomly. This one has an epigraph. This is another one that I don't know how well I'm going to be able to plan, but I'll think about it. Stream of consciousness narrative. That is not necessarily a writing style that I gel with. If you have any good recommendations for that, please let me know, or any of these really. If you have any good recommendations for any of these ones I'm going to struggle with, please comment down below. A celebrity on the cover could be interesting if I don't want to read a memoir, but I think that I could probably cheat a little bit with this and read like a Reese's Book Club selection or a Read with Jenna selection. So I might have to go that way because y'all know that I am not a memoir person. I could also take this as a celebrity blurb, like a celebrity who blurbed a book and their blurb is on that cover. So I could potentially have more options for this challenge that I'm thinking. This one is fun. Set in a country with an active volcano, and quite honestly, the United States has active volcanoes, so that's not going to be really very hard. I just thought it was a fun challenge prompt. And that is it for the ones that concern me with the 52 book club. I think a lot of these other ones I'll be able to satisfy throughout the natural course of my reading. Moving on into around the year in 52 books. I only just saw that they posted their prompts, but they have been out for quite a while now, so I'm less prepared for this. This prompt is interesting. A book connected to something mentioned in the Do Re Mi song. So you know, do, a deer, a female deer, that song. A book set underground, undersea, or in an underworld. I might be able to use House of Flame and Shadow for this by Sarah J Maas because there is the whole undersea kingdom. The whole book is not set there, but there are definitely scenes there. Here's another one that I'm not necessarily looking forward to. It is a collection of short stories or novellas, essays, poetry, or a mix of various brief writings. Now, theoretically, if I combined a book in verse, like a poetry book for the 52 book club, I could use that to satisfy this, but I really, really hope that I can find something else. I know a lot of people are probably going to recommend Elizabeth Acevedo's books. I have literally no interest in reading those, and I think I've actually tried at one point and they just don't work for me. That type of storytelling does not work for me. And so I'm really trying to find something that I'm going to be interested in that I can use to satisfy that prompt. And for this one, I think I might actually use the Improbable Meet Cute series from Amazon Originals because I really enjoyed that Christina Lauren short story that was part of that. So we're gonna see. A book by an Irish author. That's not gonna be a challenge at all because I plan on reading the next in the Boys of Tommen series and I'm very excited about it. A book connected in some way to any collective noun for animals. This actually might not be very challenging because there is a murder of crows and I'm pretty sure that I can find a book with murder in the title because that's kind of my vibe. A book by an author with a common noun in their name. All right, I'm gonna have to think about that one. Okay, here's gonna be a challenging one. A translated novel from Asia. I am not the biggest fan of translated fiction, so this is something that I know almost absolutely nothing about. Now, there are quite popular ones that I've seen going around, like the Traveling Cat Chronicles, but I've also heard that one is devastating and I don't think that I would be able to stomach that one. If you know of any translated Asian fiction that you think that I could enjoy, please leave that linked down below. I could use all the help that I can get. So here's another double prompt. 2 books with a pair of opposites in their titles. So you have to read book 1 and book 2. A monster book. Okay, that could be a little bit interesting. A book title that could be a country song. Okay, I really, really like that. That is going to be a fun one to satisfy. All right, here's another double prompt. A book with a connection from different genres. Book 1 and book 2. So I have to find 2 books, each from different genres that have something in common with each other. So that's going to be interesting. A book related to one of the traditional full moon names. All right, okay, I'm gonna have to look into that one too. Okay, and I think that is it for all the ones that I'm really concerned about for this challenge. I think there were actually more in that one than for the 52 book club. Either way, these challenges are going to be challenging, go figure, but I really want to be intentional with my picks. So I want to make sure that the books that I'm picking up, like I said, are already on my TBR or something that is on my radar that I would be interested in reading. And if I have to pick something that I really am not interested in at all, I really want to make sure to pick something up that I could have the potential to enjoy for some reason. Like maybe it's a genre that I typically love, maybe it has some tropes that I typically love. I really am going to need to take the time to think about the books that I'm picking up to satisfy these challenges for sure. Another challenge that I plan on doing is the 25 and 25 challenge that is hosted by Bree from For a Pause in a Book. This is the first time that she is doing this challenge to my knowledge. She created a beautiful bingo board and everything. I don't think I'm going to be doing the bingo board portion. I just have it here in my spreadsheet. And a lot of these are actually pretty general, so I'm going to be able to fit a lot in. We have a 2025 release, one-word title, involves travel, number in the title, cover by, seasonal book, LGBTQ+ representation, favorite author's new release, hyped book, color of the year, so kind of like the Pantone color of the year, a person of color author, novella 5-star prediction, comped, so maybe a book that has been compared to another one, friend recommendations, over 400 pages, special edition, chapter titles, debut author, mental health representation, snake on the cover, and this is the only one that I'm really concerned about, and that is self-published. I don't tend to read a lot of or any self-published books, so that one is probably going to be one that I have to think about. Then we have new to you author, TBR vet, and from another challenge, and obviously I'm participating in enough challenges and I'm going to be able to find something for that. So those are the 4 main reading challenges that I am participating in for 2025. I'm really looking forward to them, although like I said, they are going to be exceptionally difficult for me this year, and so I'm really, really hoping that I'm able to find something to satisfy all of the challenges. Since a big goal of mine for 2025 is to be intentional with my reading, I'm going to incorporate that into this and just make sure that I'm really thinking carefully about the books that I'm reading because I want to make sure that my reading year is filled with books that I love. You know, I don't want them to be filled with mediocre books or books that I actively hate. I want to go into books knowing that I'm going to love them. So we have a lot of really interesting challenges going on in 2025, and I'm really interested to see if I can be successful at them again. All right, everybody, that is it for this short, quick, sweet video. Please comment down below and let me know any challenges that you are considering for 2025. I would love to know. Or if you've made it to the end of this video and you are not feeling chatty, go ahead and just leave me like the skull emoji, because I think that I'm probably going to be feeling pretty dead after completing all of these challenges. And as always, if you like this video or if you just like me, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Throughout the month of December, through the 1st through the 25th, I plan to post one video a day leading up to Christmas. If you don't want to miss any of that content or chaos, please be sure to hit the subscribe button down below. I would love to connect with you in any of those future videos or on any of my other social media platforms, which you can always find linked down below along with any books featured in the video. Until next time, y'all, bye.